This is what I know. We're all connected to one another, the earth and all her inhabitants. We thrive on these connections, real ones that touch our soul, fill our heart, and invigorate our mind. I have been so fortunate to experience this all my life, meeting extraordinary, ordinary folks who inspire and provoke. My name is Khadija Muhaisen. Welcome to Adventures of the Soul Conversations. My hope is that they will fill your cup as they have filled mine.
Right there already was within my, I don't like the word power, but let's call it that.
My ability, my capacity.
My ability, my capability to choose. To choose. Did I want to be that person which loses herself in the pain? Or do I want to be something else, which I don't know yet what it is. Till today, I don't know what it is. I'm still working at it. And I felt literally the strength go away from my body and fall on my knees.
Yeah,
screaming no. That's
so
what I
powerful.
heard.
Yeah.
It's like I was in my body, but I wasn't in my body. I was looking at it. It's a movie. It's not my life. And there was a part of me that was like falling apart, and a part of me that was so together, it scared me. I was trying to think about everybody. I felt extremely guided. I really felt like there was something else bigger than me there. So I grabbed them both and I took them over to her bed. And I told them, you promise me right now that for her and in the name of her love, we will not let this family fall apart. We will not let ourselves fall apart. We will do everything in our power to be present for her and to love her and to honor her by being the best that we can be. I couldn't believe how the world could keep on going like nothing happened. Yet for me, my world stopped. Here 1 minute, gone the next. But this is for all of us. So I have no clue what happens in a Muslim country and in a Muslim funeral. My husband is Muslim, I'm Christian, although for us it never made any difference whatsoever. But it was obvious that the funeral was going to be Muslim because I'm surrounded by his family and the only Christians is me.
And one of the differences in this is that for us Muslims, we hurry, like this is expedited. We believe it's better to go through to the burial straight away as soon as possible.
Right, of course.
Which is very different, probably.
But also the ritual, in a way. I had been to Christian funerals in my life.
Yes.
So you kind of, silly to say, but it's comforting to know what's going to happen. You know what to expect within the midst of this tragedy that you already don't know how to deal with. But then I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no clue. I'd never been to a Muslim
you surrendered?
funeral.
You surrendered?
I was terrified. And I was like, people were saying, go to the washing, don't go to the washing. I said, washing? What washing? I didn't know. No, nobody explained to me there was never need. So I decided, okay, I'll go with the flow.
Wow.
You know, I'll go with the flow. And I know we were in the car with my sister-in-law and my niece. And they're around me and comforting me. And comforting, actually. Yes. And all of a sudden I got so scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. I have no clue.
Did you say?
Yeah, I said that. And most of it, I said it to Sophia. I closed I was about to have a panic attack. I could feel it, my heart. I can't breathe. I don't know what to expect. What am I gonna do? And it was like the cherry on the pie. It was that, of course, that wasn't my problem. My problem was much bigger. But
you're still living minute by minute.
Exactly. Yeah. And I asked, I said, Sophia, please give me the strength to go through this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's expected of me. And I swear to you, talk about being helped, I felt a total shift. All of a sudden, I felt as if I had taken, I don't know what calming pill, you know? All of a sudden, I went like, whoa.
As soon as you asked?
As soon as I asked, I swear to God. And then I went in and I decided I wanted to see it. I had to see her. And they told me, no, you can't go in. This is the men's side, women's side. I don't know these things. I don't go to pray in a mosque. I don't know.
Ah, you're talking about the funeral, not her
funeral.
washing. Ah, okay.
Yeah. So when I went there, they said, no, you can't enter like this. So I said, okay, how do I have to enter? And people were proposing different covers and different things. I said, okay, give me something. But you can't enter on the men's side. I said, well, she's on the men's side, I don't care. And my attitude, I swear to God, I felt like, and I don't mean any disrespect whatsoever. I'm just trying to put everything in my frame of mind. You know, my daughter is there, and you're trying to stop me. I was like, try. I felt like Schwarzenegger, you know, in Terminator. Let them try.
They probably never even attempted.
And somebody tried timidly, and they saw my look. They immediately stepped back.
Near her,
and I went through the men's side, and she was on the floor in a corner. Nothing like what I was used to. You know, you enter a church full of flowers, a casket. And I'm not saying that one is right and one is wrong, because actually I found it poetic at the end, the way it was done.
How?
Because I realized later that in our religion, there's a lot of these outer things, you know, the flower, the beautiful casket, and but it's just a mental thing that I'm used to. Then the cemetery, beautiful, green grounds and flowers everywhere and sculptures, and you feel like you're putting it in a garden. When we got to the cemetery, I was like, what?
Dirt.
Oh my God. I thought it was, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but I thought it was like a garbage disposal. Yeah. Bodies like this. We don't know where to walk, and I don't want to disrespect anybody's tomb, and yet I'm walking on top of them. And I was like, what? But then, surprisingly, when I saw it, how it was so simple. Stripped of everything. She was wrapped in this sheet, and they took out this sheet, they gave me this sheet, and then they brought her by hand, and everybody participating. And there was a hole, just a hole. There wasn't a machine like putting down the casket with all this almost mechanical movement. And I don't mean to disrespect my Christian friends either. It's just one way and another.
You're just recounting
I'm just
facts.
saying,
it's just, yeah.
So I saw that somebody had to put her body down
with their
in
hands.
the hole with the hands, and they were all helping each other. And from a distance I saw my son wanted to be the one to touch her the last time. And he jumped into the hole and he grabbed her and he pulled her down. And I swear to God, I don't think I ever loved him more. I felt like, oh my God.
He's a man, you're saying.
He's a man, and he's putting his sister to lay down, and he doesn't want anybody else to do it. And how difficult it must have been for him.
Wow.
But how important for his closure. It was his sister. They got along so well.
And you're watching?
And I'm watching all this. And then everybody was praying, and everybody started putting the dirt on top of her, not on top of a
slab.
Wooden casket. It was immediately, but somehow that didn't offend me at all. I found it poetic. Humans taking care of humans, you know?
And we go back to the earth.
And we go back to the earth. And if you have belief that we are not our body, then it's okay. It's painful. It's extremely painful.
So as you're standing there and you're watching all of this, is this going through your mind, or is this now that you look back and think?
I was just witnessing, and I was already there being relieved that it wasn't as bad as I thought. It was, I could see the realness of it, and how everybody that really felt for her and loved her, how they
there.
participated, and that was beautiful. I felt it immediately. And then later when I thought about it, I thought how beautiful it is. There is no mechanical things, just humans taking care of humans and taking another human to the final resting place. And even though it was ugly, the surrounding, it didn't bother me, because even there you have to make a choice. What's more important? What's more important? Honoring this soul is more important than how pretty the surroundings are. And then I even gave to myself this thing, okay, now she's blessing this Jordanian ground,
yes.
and she's gonna make it become more beautiful, because she's beautiful, beautiful soul.
And did you feel that you had said your goodbyes then, or was there when you left the cemetery? How was?
No, I said my goodbye, my final goodbye, in the mosque when I entered, and something happened, like as if it was orchestrated from not me. I just looked at a guy, and the guy understood. Unwrap. I didn't even speak a word. He started unwrapping, and I got closer, and I kissed her face and her lips, and I didn't care anymore that it was a cold body. It was her body, and even though I knew she wasn't in it, it was part of her. It had been part of her, so to me it was.
Did you feel it was her, or did you feel she had already gone?
Well, I knew her soul wasn't in there, but still, for me, her body was holy as well. That's the body I hugged every day. That's the body I nurtured every day. So that's all I had right then to say goodbye to, physically. And so I kneeled down, because it's on the floor, and I kissed her, and I gave her my last goodbyes and last wishes. And in the same time, the funny thing is that I realized that a lot of guys that were in the mosque, and some of them were my nephews, I realized later, they created a semicircle behind me without me saying a word, to give me the privacy. So I thought it was magical. In the fear of, oh my God, what's gonna happen? The best possible scenario then happened. In a way, I felt like taken care of.
Just like you were taken care of that first night by your men, and you had a bigger circle of men.
It was like orchestrated by, I guess there was a communication between the beings that were there.
That's beyond.
That was beyond our words. So, but no, I keep talking to my daughter all the time.
Of course.
I said my goodbyes to her many times. And even though I'm telling you that I knew that there was a conscious choice about how you want to grieve. Do you want to grieve by destroying your life, or you want to grieve by celebrating her life and making the best of yours? Still, that doesn't mean I didn't grieve. I grieved tremendously.
And you grieve, and you still grieve, and you continue
I'm still
to grieve.
grieving. But,
you know, Ursula, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but so I heard about your story from the background, and I was watching. I mean, it shook the whole town. And one thing I think that surprises everybody is your strength. And they say you are strong, and you're talking about this right now, because you're spiritual. And going back to the image of your son's teacher, and you know I'm sure you received messages and you had visions, and you were kind of prepared for this. Having experienced this, and you continue to experience this, do you think another mother would be able to shoulder this pain, to deal with this pain, if she wasn't spiritual? Or do you think that it makes you spiritual and connected, the pain?
all of it is true.
All of it.
All of it is true.
You kind of have no choice.
You know, I had this thought this morning. You know, when you're pregnant, there is something else that takes over. The first time you're pregnant, you don't know how it's going to be.
True.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to make another human. How is it possible?
True.
What am I going to do? You know? Yet, step by step, there is something that guides you. And there is an inner knowing that you have to...
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
The baby's
you have
coming
to give
out.
yourself up to it. Because there's something, you're not actually thinking, oh my God, now I am contributing to make a toenail. You know, it's
the
just
heart
happening.
is forming that,
There is this inner intelligence, which I believe is part of everything that is, and it's inside of you. And then boom, you made a human. And I believe the same is true in death. There is an inner intelligence that if you allow it, that's what I found for myself. Maybe for others it's not the same. If you allow it, it will guide you. If you allow yourself not to be too much into your mind, which is a natural process, but there's also something, it's hard to put into words, but there's also something magical in death. There is a great teaching in death because it's as real as birth. It's the other side of birth.
And we're talking about this at the same time. I mean, look at the paradox. We're talking about birth
and death. Birth and death are two coins of the same side, but we are never taught. We are taught to celebrate birth, obviously.
And not talk about death.
And to completely put the conversation about death under the rug. You just don't mention it. It's a no-no. I've had people never come into my restaurant because I heard, and some of them told me later in my face, how can I come to your restaurant? How can I come and celebrate and you have this loss? Which I understand, and I understand it comes from a place of respect. But in the same time,
this is your
there
livelihood.
is people that were afraid to say hello to me because people expect that maybe you would break down into tears, or it's a very uncomfortable ground to walk.
So going back to the process there, our Muslim traditions where we have those 3 days of condolences. So those 3 days are kind of permission for everybody to kind of accept what's happening. And maybe there's, I mean, I remember myself walking into houses of condolences where I think, oh my God, you know, the minute you step into the door, especially if it's such a tragic loss, you know, someone, it's older people and you kind of expect it's a different story. It's still shocking, but this, you know, I can imagine, and yet we do it. And yet we allow ourselves to talk, you know, to be there, to be present. Maybe people don't talk about it, but they're present with you for those 3 days.
But the presence is important.
It's very important. And how was that healing for you? Is it different from?
Well, it was weird because this is not my country.
Yes.
It's an adopted country. And even back then I didn't know many people. My family were not here. My dad was on his way. And you know, a lot of people come to these places, and I would say that 99% I didn't know. 90%.
So you're just watching?
So yes,
as people
I am
watched
watching and hugging people I don't know. And I realize there how uncomfortable people are around death because they don't know what to say.
Even those 3 days?
They don't know what to say. And I know there isn't anything clever that you can say when somebody dies. And that's why I always say, just be present. Just be present, say a prayer, a good wish. I've had people telling me, and this is the weirdest thing, that's just to tell you how a lot of people are so uncomfortable, you know. I had someone, it actually pissed me really off. Someone telling me, well, look at it this way. She was beautiful, beautiful. Now she's gonna be beautiful for God forever. And you don't even have to spend money for Botox.
Oh my God.
And I will never say who it was, but I was like, really?
Oh my God.
Really?
I mean, to talk about...
And I was like, okay, this is an extreme.
Yeah, this is the other extreme.
This is the other extreme. But why? People say stupid things because they don't know what to say. There is nothing you can say that is going to make that soul heal.
especially, I mean, for the loss of a child, I say again, you always, this is unexpected. Have you read Option B, Sheryl Sandberg's?
No.
She lost her husband shockingly, he was young.
Yeah.
And I think in her intro, she says that, like after the funeral, she received letters from hundreds of people. She's the CEO of Facebook, so I'm guessing she knows a lot of people. There's one woman who sent her a letter, and in the letter she said, listen, I lost my husband a few years ago. My friend lost her husband a little more recently. It still hurts. There's nothing I can tell you to make you feel better, and I wish I knew what to tell you to change things or to help you, but there isn't. And Sheryl Sandberg says that this letter actually destroyed her, because at that time, she didn't need to know that even years forward, nothing's going to change. You're still going to feel the same amount of pain. It's still going to be the same. Right. And that's, I guess, why people, I mean, what do you say? What do you say?
For me, you don't have to say anything. It's the intention and the presence that makes the difference, I think. And the people that I did know really surprised me with, even clients, surprised me with their support.
The friendship.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I even thought, my God, if this had happened in Italy, maybe I wouldn't even have had so much support. I saw the warmth of the Jordanian people. They really reached out, and they didn't know me. And they really, really reached out. Then you also see the embarrassment of some people that they don't know why, because there isn't a conversation about death. It should be just, in my opinion, you are around the person that suffered a loss, and just to let them know that you're there. Just to let them know that you love them, you support them. But there isn't anything else you can do.